Hi, everybody. No surprise, the stock market sold off once again today. There are some good news and some bad news. The bad news is that we are about ready to fill the gap up once we hit 46.52. We're going to go ahead and fill it. We hit 46.50 today, so we did fill it actually. Didn't look like it on the chart, but I can see that we filled it. So that is the bad news. We have filled this gap, but gaps like to be filled in the market, so this is no surprise. What we want to see here going forward is us holding these levels right here. If we do not hold the January 15 levels, then we are definitely going to test the December levels. And if we don't hold those December lows, then the October lows come into play, and that's way far away. So buckle up. It could be fun. TSV, longer term trending down, MAC trending down, short intermediate term they're kind of both barely trending up, but there's nothing extremely bullish in there. So the Nasdaq to me is kind of in no man's land. Russell 2000, same thing. You can see TSV, no trend. MACD kind of trending down longer term, up shorter term, up even shorter term, and overall longer term trending kind of just nowhere, oscillating back and forth, which makes sense because the Nasdaq has really gone nowhere. If we just go to the beginning of 2014 now, you got 1% gain, so it kind of sums everything up there. But once again, holding the early January support well right now. New York Stock Exchange, same thing. Volume was below average today on the NYC, so that's good. It has filled that gap, but we need to see it hold these lows, and especially these lows, or else October lows come into play. But overall, everywhere, SP 500, everything, as you can see, down over 0.50%. And the one good news about today also is that the Russell 2000 showed the strongest relative strength of the day, down only 0.47%, right at the 50-day moving average. So if we can hold around these 50-day moving average and get above the 1.8 highs on the indexes, I think, we could go ahead and, get a rally during this earnings season. But Alcoa is starting off correctly tonight. Have not checked, but after hours it was up last time I checked, so that is semi-good news. We'll see if it can follow through tomorrow. The bottom line is the market just looks like it needs to bide some time. You can see now in the bottom pane stochastics, it looks the same in all of the indexes. There really is no heads or tails of anything, so it's basically just managing your positions here. And on that note, we had some big sell-offs today. BITA, huge sell-off. Stops, gotta love them. My first stop was 78, right below these lows, and then I had it right at basically the open of 1675.26. So I got out at 78 and 75, closed at 74, hit all the way down to 71. Once again, stops are extremely important because this crap is not natural. STE is also a full sell. Half of it got hit intraday, closing below the low a day, had the emergency sell stop here. But with it reversing the signal date on above average volume, it is a full sell. JD is only a 75% sell. Why? Because it's reversing it on below average volume. Wasn't a big position anyway. But the biggest key is that I basically treated this as the signal day, and this low day of 24 as my ultimate final cut loss level. It's holding at 24.11. If it would have closed at 23.99, we would fully sell JD. But as of now, the emergency sell stop at 22.85 is still holding, and we'll give JD one more day to see if that's just a quick shakeout. But 75% of it still has to go no matter what. Also, AFSI, another above average volume close. The thing is that it had to hold this low. Since it was a heavier volume gap, we reversed it and closed higher than where we opened, so it's a potential to be a reversal bar. But if we close below the low a day, it isn't, and we didn't. So AFSI is a full sell. Gotta go. And then speculative stock ALLY. Damn, pretty crazy. Thank God we got it at limits, because if we wouldn't have done that, it would have been a pretty painful overall long position. But ALLY, we got it here around 2350 area, 2355, 2350 area, and it is failing magnificently, closing below my final emergency cut loss level, which was 2262. So basically, I'm getting out of the last part of position where it's at now, but ALLY is a full sell. Also, LinkedIn is a half 50% sell, closing below the open and 50-day moving average of our add back signal date, 223.59. Should have held 223.13. If you, let's say, have 30 shares, you could sell 10 off now, have 10 with the move below 220.77, and an end of day close below 220.77. You got to get out of all of it, and then you could keep your final 10 shares on an intraday basis at 214.52 if you want to see what it does here at the 50-day moving average. And then XNCR, its catalyst was Max Green Bop. I wanted to see it explode higher with Max Green Bop before it lost any of that. Big heavy volume reversal. Losing Max Green Bop. That is a 25% sell signal, and now we are raising stops, across the board. So maybe the first one is 1662, 1576, and then 1514 will be my final one. But we got to raise stops on XNCR with that reversal. And then I only had, I'm showing you with all these ugly technical indicators I really don't pay attention to when going long. My apologies. And then when we have Arwell IP as our only long signal, you can see the huge accumulation off the lows from November into December. Low volume pullback December to January. Now more accumulation as it starts to break out of this. This is kind of like a bad cup with handle. This is like a big cup and a handle pattern. But remember, a cup with handle patterns technically can only form from previous uptrends. And if we go to 2013, I guess we do have that. And then if you want to get real technical, it's really a double bottom with cup pattern. Here's the first W, or the first leg of the W. There's the second leg of the W, and then here's our handle. But it appears to be breaking out, and I got a bop, volume, and price surge today. Price surge wasn't too much, but I don't want it to be too much. But the volume and bop surge was nice to go along with the already loads of green bop, already in the stock. Is this stock perfect? Great. 5%? Hell no. I was almost going to say F no. Hell no. This base is nowhere near long enough. If you want to know what it would look like, this base would have to go on for weeks and weeks and weeks, probably a couple of 3 weeks, to get that 50-day moving average to catch up with it and to get that 200-day moving average turning up. If that would be the case, sure, 5%. We don't risk much. 3% if we're wrong if you use the low day as your final cut loss signal. But since the base is relatively short overall compared to where the 50-day moving average is after that big explosive run from November to December, it's only going to be a 2.5% position. Also, IQNT add back signal today with it now closing above the basically 1912 high. It came close the day before, 2 days before, but it didn't, so we couldn't do the add back then. But with this close here, we can add back what we just sold here. And then, of course, the lower day of this signal day becomes very, very important, or at least 75% would need to be sold if it fails. And then SHEN sold off another 50% of Shen this day. Finally, it kind of came back this day. I was glad I didn't buy it back because of the weak close, but now we do get a strong close and a close above the 31.22 level, so it's time to add Shen back. So that's it. Shen, IQNT, still waiting to see if ENTA wants to get added back, still waiting to see if ANGO wants to get added back. Mara hit intraday near the high, so I got filled around 812, and it's at 786, but it is not a new cut loss. So we're holding that position. But we're rocky here. Be careful, everyone. Remember, I have very, very, very tight stops. So if this thing does roll over, I'm going to get executed on a ton of stops. It's going to cost me a lot in commissions, way more than I'm even can even tolerate. But I have to trade like this because we continue to have a lack of beautiful charts out there. In fact, we have none with proper setups. And then with the action stocks like BITA and ALLY, you kind of see why you need to have tight sell stops, because things can get ugly really quick in this market.